Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Here we are, our 100th video. It's hard to believe. When we started this, we figured the first year we wouldn't even make 1,000 subscribers, and we're already over 6. So that's pretty awesome, thanks to you guys. Hope you've been liking the videos, and we're going to try to keep making them. I know they've slowed down some, but that happens this time of the year. But anyway, today for our 100th video, we're going to do a farm equipment tour. I know you've been asking a lot for that. And then also we're going to do some question and answer stuff too. So anyway, we'll get started with that. I think I can cover everything. The machinery inventory around here can change daily depending on where the nearest auction is, but we'll give you a current inventory anyway. It might not be the fanciest stuff around here, but it does the job, that's for sure. Alright, we'll start up here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each thing just to move through, and stuff's kind of scattered around since our shed came down last winter. We got two Gale high throw long hopper forage blowers here. I use both of these, usually put one on each silo. I do have another blower we'll show you once we get down there, but those are our two main silo blowers there. Alright, we got the International 950 grinder mixer. I don't really use it anymore. It did work, but the auger and stuff is pretty rotted out, so probably just going to get scrapped. I thought about maybe using the tank for feed storage because we put the roof on it, but it's just kind of a yard ornament right now. Alright, old case 5 bottom plow, old pipe, I don't know. We never used it. Grandpa bought it, we were going to use it, and the bottoms, the main parts were too worn out, so we just kind of kept it around for parts, coulters and stuff on it. But all right, we got two of our chopper boxes here, Badger 950s. One's a 16-foot long, this is a 14-foot. Those are the two main ones we use. We have a couple other ones we'll get to. This is our main plow here, International. This is a, I can't remember the model, 770 I believe. Yeah, 770 auto reset, on land pull type. That's, like I said, that's our main one. A couple of drags here, nothing real fancy. This is an old, I think it's a McCormick or International. That one's pretty worn out, and then this is just a spike tooth. I don't even know the brand on this one. Spike tooth drag. Then we got our International Model 40 stock chopper. Didn't wind up using it. Well, I guess I did use it this spring in one of our earlier videos, but I didn't have to really use this fall for anything. But I have used it for mowing grass and stuff too. It works nice for that. Alright, we've gotten a lot of inquiry on this combine. This is a Case 660 gas engine, case engine. We don't use it anymore. We haven't actually used it for a long time. Actually, for small grain, it's probably been 20 years. We did use it 4 or 5 years ago for shelling corn, but this thing, pretty worn inside. I think it's had a lot of use. We quit using it just because the capacity on it wasn't what we needed. But anyway, it did a nice job. I was going to try to get it running again. We had it running about 4 or 5 years ago, like I said. I went to turn the motor over, it was stuck. I don't really know why, but anyway, and then I see now I went to drain the oil out of it, and there's antifreeze in the oil, so I don't know why. It wasn't overheated or anything, but whether I'll use it again, I don't know. I'm going to try to get the motor freed up and get it running and see where that antifreeze is coming from. Like I said, as far as the combine goes, I don't know. We had some issues with some stuff inside coming apart. Like I said, I think it's got quite a bit of wear inside. But I would like to get the motor running anyway, just because it did run really well. But that's kind of the story on that thing. Like I said, we haven't used it for years, but if I do try to get it going again, I will definitely have video of it. Alright, we got our Badger model 1416 forage box. I guess I use it for feeding cows, kind of like a chuck wagon or feed wagon. I've got it set up to run on an electric motor. We pull it in front of the barn and unload into the wheelbarrows. But it works really good for that. I have used it to chop into when we're filling silo too, but it doesn't hold a lot. And then we got this 560 here. This is my brother Paul's tractor. He's nice enough, lets me use it here. He doesn't farm right now, but he helps out here all the time. Just a gas, pretty decent tractor, actually, really handy. We use it a lot, so that's that. All right, we got our little John Deere 820 here. This is a 3-cylinder diesel. My great-grandpa bought this brand new, I believe 1968. This is probably the handiest tractor we have on the place. It does pretty much everything. Other than the real heavy work, we don't use it for much in the dirt work anymore, but it's very fuel efficient and easy to get on and off, and just a real handy tractor. All right, our Haybine, New Holland 489. We've had this since brand new. Been a very good machine. The rollers are getting thin on it, but this is what we still use to cut our hay. And we run this on that little John Deere, actually, so it worked out real nice for us. And then we got these 2 pro quality hay baskets. We used to stack everything in the field on flat racks, but it's too hard to get enough help now to do it all. So one of these is actually a friend of mine's, and then one we bought. I really like them. They work really well. Then we got our hay elevator here for running small squares up into the barn. I don't know, it's nothing fancy. I think it's a Little Giant brand. Works pretty well. Nice and light, easy to move around. These are 2 of our Gale Forage Harvesters or Forage Choppers. We don't really use. I use this one. This is a 400. I used this last year. This one here. It works all right, but it chops real long. I'm actually thinking about converting it for chop and bedding. And then this is a 600. This kind of turned into a parts machine. It did work. The knives were bad in it, but I've robbed parts off of that. We got our skid loader here, Gale 4400. This one's a gas. They did make a diesel. It's not the fanciest thing, but I'll tell you what, it's a workhorse. It's been around here for years, and I don't know the years on these machines, but this is the 2nd bucket we've had on it, and it's just about worn through that. So definitely a workhorse. All right, we got our 1 manure spreader here. It's a New Holland, just a chain Flail Spreader. Nothing fancy, but it works pretty decent for what we need it for. All right, we got a new idea corn picker here. It's a 704 power unit. It's got a V6 GM gas motor, an 839 husking bed on it. I don't know the number of the head, but there was a machine shed here, and that caved in last winter from the snow. The conveyor going out the back got bent up. I haven't gotten the chance yet, but I got to make some phone calls and see if I can find a new conveyor. But otherwise, it does work. Actually, I need to try to get that running yet this year. It hasn't been run since last winter, so. We got our 1 loader tractor here. Excuse me, the 530 case. It was a diesel. We actually we had another 660 case combine for parts. That's the motor that's in here. It's a gas motor. The only thing that didn't work was the PTO didn't hook up to that motor, but the diesel motor locked up. And then I did put an industrial front end under this. I know we had some comments talking about how much I was lifting with this. So it was hard on the front end. The standard front end it was, but I haven't had any trouble with this one. Then we got the massive Beast 1066 here. This is a Wheatland, I guess you would call it. So there's no 3-point hitch on it at all. But that's our biggest tractor. All right, we got our individual bale wrapper, an Anderson RB 200. I think we've had this 4 or 5 years now. Then round baler, one of them, New Holland 853. This we've had since new. This the last year of the chain style balers. Our square baler, it's a new idea, 551. I've had this since new as well. This has actually been a really good baler. little tough to get parts for now, but been a good machine. Another case. This is an 830 diesel. This is the older style, so it didn't have the 3-point. It had a Eagle hitch originally, but we don't even have that hooked up now. But case-o-matic. Both of the 830s we have our case-o-matic transmission. And then we got our other little round baler here. This is, I can't remember the model, 3450, same as a new idea. Just an all-belt baler. I've got the wind guard off of it right now, but that works pretty decent too. Nice little baler. And then our old Brilliant seeder here, sure stand seeder for seeding hay and stuff like that. Alright, we got our Cools Brothers silo blower here. We haven't used this thing for years. It does still work. I didn't care for it as much filling silo, just because it didn't meter out the silage as well coming out of the wagon. Had more trouble with it. Just a couple of heads here. It's just a single row Gale corn head, and then the old hay head for the old 717 New Holland. This old VAC case, it looks pretty rough. I had it running years ago. I want to actually get it all redone. This, my great-grandpa actually bought brand new when there used to be a dealership in town, so it's got more sentimental value than anything, but that's what that is. There's a John Deere or Van Brunt grain drill. I just bought this actually this fall at an auction, so I haven't even used it yet, but I think this is going to be our primary drill now. This is an old Paypec silo filler. It's been converted onto a frame. We used to use it for chopping bedding into the barn. I actually used that last winter too. We got the video on that. But I haven't used it at all this year. And then this is a roller mill blower for running corn shell or ear corn through. This thing almost killed me, so I don't use it anymore. Yeah, we were grinding corn. I was in the gravity box pushing ear corn down, tractor running it. I heard a clattering noise, this big chain. It sounded like that running loose in there. I was going to climb out of the wagon, and I looked down, and the PTO shaft went in here, and it was going around like this in the shield. So I just ducked down, and I mean, you got to keep in mind we had the 1256 International 100 and some horse running this pretty much wide open to grind corn. So I'm laying in that wagon on the corn, and all of a sudden I hear this clattering, and then all of a sudden it just, everything went quiet other than the tractor running. So I got out, cleaned my shorts, and what had happened is the power takeoff had come out of here, and it went sideways, and it actually snapped the shaft off the back of the tractor. Well, I went down and got Jen, because this was at night. They were milking, and I was grinding corn. And on the other side of the gravity box, this is supposed to be in here, and this came off with the PTO shaft, and this actually flew over the top of the wagon and was laying on the ground on the other side. So if this would have caught me in the head when I stood up, that would have been the end of me, because this thing probably weighs 15-20 pounds. And what I actually haven't looked at this thing since it happened until about a month ago. They had welded this sprocket on, because I'm assuming it must have came loose. This shaft goes directly to the rollers, and I think because they heated that, it made the shaft brittle, because this was all a fresh break, and I think it just snapped off. So I'm not using this anymore. International 1256. This is, I guess they're probably, I don't know which is actually bigger. I think this is maybe supposed to be a little more horsepower than the 1066, but I think that one has maybe been turned up a little bit. But we've had this tractor for probably 30 years. It's been an awesome, awesome tractor. Corn planter, it's a John Deere 7000 4-row, 30-inch rows. That's also been a good machine. Okay. Archway 420 grinder mixer. This is the one we still use. I have another one just like this for basically parts, but so this is our, I haven't used it for a while, but all right, this is our field roller. We actually, Grandpa had this made That section way over there, that's the main piece, and then these two are wings that go off of it. It does a nice job. It's a little hard to take apart and put together, but it works really well. John Deere disc. This is our main disc. Works pretty well. Haven't had a lot of issues with it. I got the front rebuilt, and it's been good since then. This old chopper box. This is a Load King. I think they were their own brand at one time. I think maybe H&S kind of took them over. This one had been rebuilt. It's my old dump truck, Ford F600. I put a military dirt box on the back. It used to be a grain truck, but getting pretty rough, but I should get it running again. I had it running this spring, but it's a beast. Our Owatonna 205 elevator. I actually just bought this one not that long ago at a sale. I have another one that's the same model, but it's not all... I still use it, but it doesn't have the hopper or anything. But here's another Load King forage box. Same pretty much as that one I just had. I see this one's got a tag. It says Steinberg Manufacturing. So I think that's who made them. But like I said, I think maybe H&S kind of took that over. This New Holland chopper, this is a 717. This was the main chopper when I was a kid, but haven't really used it for years. It needs some bearings. It's more parts now. The 256 New Holland Rake. I think it's actually a 56. I think somebody put different stickers on it, but we still do use that. It works pretty good. New Holland 782 chopper. I actually bought this, and I had this corn grinding kit for it. I bought this when that roller mill blower exploded. I hooked it right to the silo. It actually worked really well for that, but now I haven't really made high moisture corn, so it's kind of just a parts machine for my other chopper now. Here's our hay tedder, the Vermeer TD100. We've had this a couple years now, bought it new. It works really well. Alright, we got our Citrix V-rake here. I know it doesn't look like a V now, it's kind of a process. You got to all fold it all down, but this also was bought at the same time the ground baler was new. It's actually really good. Right, another Van Brunt, the John Deere grain drill. This is similar to the other one. I was going to use this for my main one, but the other one seems better, so this might be a parts one. Alice Chalmers sickle mower, pitmanless mower. Basically, we just use that for trimming roadsides now. This is our 3-point Hitch snow blower. I should probably get that dug out because I imagine we're going to get some snow one of these times. But
don't say that.
If I hook it up, it won't snow me. This is just a little 3-point cultivator here we usually use for hitting low spots and stuff. Just an old parts VAC. This is a hay head. This was on one of those 717 chopper as well. A little wider than the other one. This is our old crop sprayer. It still worked, but the other one is bigger booms and stuff. We'll get to that one after. Just got a little weeder here for weeding corn. Just goes on the 3-point. The old Minneapolis Moline grain drill. This used to be the main one years ago, but just parts now. Another old John Deere disc that needs work. I used it actually a couple years ago, but needs quite a bit of attention now. Corn cultivator. I'm not sure the brand on that one. Did use that 2 or 3 years ago, but we don't cultivate much anymore. Got the Ford 3-point back blade for the tractor. This is a hay head for those Gale choppers. It fits either one. This is our old plow, International 550 semi-mount. It still works fine. I just haven't used it because I haven't had two people to plow. But Minnesota 135 box Manure Spreader. That's our main spreader we still use. Another Gale corn head. This is a 2-row 30-inch, just a chain head instead of the newer one with the belts on it. Then we got just a brush cutter here, parts skid loader over there.
Fitting chute.
Oh yeah, fitting chute for the cows. Alright, our John Deere Model 1000 field cultivator. I believe it's 26 or 28 feet wide. And then behind it I've got I think it's a Lindsay spike tooth harrow I pull behind. Alright, this is our main forage harvester here. It's a New Holland 790. It's got an 822 corn head on it. I got the hay head down there. I'll show you that in a little bit. We just bought it this summer and used it for some corn and hay this fall, and it worked really well. This is the hay head for that 790. It's an 890W, and then this is just a parts 822 corn head for that chopper. This is our wood splitter. We have an outdoor boiler, so we use this for splitting our firewood. This is one of our flat rack hay racks we used to use. I just use it for getting firewood pretty much now. Here's our crop sprayer. This is the one that we use now. The other one, like I said, we don't anymore. So this is our main one. This is our other 830 case. Got the loader on it. This one's a little newer. It's a diesel. Got the regular 3-point, and this is a Comfort King, so it sits up higher. And it's also got the Case-O-Matic as transmission as well. This is our little bee farm all. It looks a little rough. It does run good and everything. We still use it for small chores around, but I need to get a couple things done on the front. Leaks a little oil, but other than that, it runs good. Okay, got the machinery tour done. Hope that answered some questions for you on our machinery lineup, kind of what we have there. We've got a few questions here from viewers, just stuff they commonly ask. First one, where are we located? We are Sturgeon Lake, Minnesota, which is about 50 miles south of Duluth. It's just a small little dot on the map now. Not too much there. Next one, how many acres do we farm? The farm is 60 acres. There's about 20 acres tillable in that. And then we rent about another 150 to 200 that'd be for tillable. How many cows do we milk? We're milking about 25 right now. Actually 26. I think we had one calf today. So that kind of moves around. The barn holds, I have 33 stalls that we can milk in. And then we added 4 stalls in the back just for if we had to switch cows. I can't milk them there, but they can be housed there. Alright, what are some upgrades to equipment that you would wish, if any? Definitely skid loader I would like to upgrade. I think I would still keep this one because it is handy for its size to get into small buildings. But a bigger one would be nice, something newer with a quick attach, something a little more durable for the heavier bales and things like that are nice to have to move. Obviously it wouldn't have to be a new machine, but something could be a lot newer than that. Then probably the biggest area I would like to upgrade in would be the haying equipment. Definitely I would like to upgrade the V-rake, something a little more user-friendly for transporting field to field. Ground baler, that chain baler, it does work well, but it's showing its age. Definitely things getting more and more worn on it. Seems to be more and more maintenance every year on that, so that's something I would definitely think of upgrading. And also, the Haybine, I would like to look into a disc bine. Not that I mind cutting with the Haybine, it does fine. The disc bine is nice. I've used them. Some neighbors, or actually my cousins in the past. One thing I do like about them over the Haybine is for wet hay. We get a lot of dew here. You can start cutting a lot earlier with the disc bine because the Haybine will clog if you're in heavy hay when it's wet. Also, like during rain or right after a rain, you can get on it a lot quicker without having to wait for the grass to dry out. But for right now, the Haybine doesn't really give any major issues, other than it is going to need rollers. And then also, that's kind of it for as far as the machinery part. One thing we've talked about is maybe someday getting some sort of a freestall set up for the cows. If we were going to switch cows, or if we ever looked into maybe putting in some kind of a parlor. It wouldn't be strictly freestall. It would be something they could, if you've got nasty, muddy conditions, you could keep them in there, but if the weather's nice, they could come in and out as they pleased. And also we have talked about a parlor. One of the biggest issues with stuff like that is the area we're in here. Well, a lot of areas are like this, but the dairy industry around here, or the dairy economy, I guess you would say, is not much left. So we are kind of always watching for stuff like that. I would definitely not borrow a bunch of money to do that. If we came, if we were able to put that money away, would be a little more willing. But as far as a hauler or something saying we're not going to go up there anymore, there's not enough farms there to do it. Or if we are going to go up there, it's going to cost us more to get our milk hauled than what we're getting for our milk. So I know that has happened to some surrounding counties where there was just 1 or 2 farms left in the county, and it just wasn't feasible for them to go pick that milk up anymore. So that is something we have to keep in the back of our mind when making improvements. If obviously a freestall barn could be used for something else, but a parlor that pretty much has one purpose. So you kind of have to watch that. But right now there's no sign of that. Things are going pretty good. One benefit to us is we're only a few miles off of Interstate 35, so the milk trucks don't have to leave the main drag very far to get us, where some of those other counties were quite a ways off. But anyway, so that's kind of something there. But other than that, that's probably it there. One other question that came to mind that or not really a question, but suggestion, is why I don't use a milking stool. I have one. I can even show it to you. I have proof. I did use it. I didn't care for it. It was one of those, and maybe there's different kinds. I don't know, but that's got the little curly leg on the back of it, and I wound up poking the cow behind me more times, turning around and having her kick at me or whatever. So it was just easier for me to not have it. But I can see where some people like to use them, but it just didn't work out well for me. But so that's why I do have one, but I don't care for it. Do I prefer ag bags over the upright silos? That's kind of a toss-up. They both have their pros and cons. The silos I do like. They are more work to unload out of. If you put the silage in, if you watch your moisture so it's not too wet, they unload pretty. I usually don't have much trouble. But if you do have trouble, you're off the ground, you're climbing up and down all the time, where the bags, you're right there. One benefit that I have with the bags here is I have that blacktop slab that they're on, which really helps for feeding out of, because if you've got them just on the ground, unless you have a really good gravel or limestone pad, you're constantly dealing with mud. I don't like the plastic with the bags. Just something you have to get rid of. It's kind of a hassle, kind of a pain that way. They do make nice feed. I think you can get less waste with the upright silos. The bags don't have the waste as long as nothing gets into them, but deer, turkeys, that kind of stuff, raccoons can raise a lot of trouble with that. One thing I have noticed is haylage goes into a bag a lot better, from what I've noticed, than trying to blow it up the silo. It seems like I have a lot of issues with it plugging going up the silo, especially with orchard grass. We've had some nightmares trying to get orchard grass haylage up the silo, and I do plant quite a bit of that. So like I said, it would be kind of a toss-up between the two. I like having the option to have both, but that's kind of it there.
So would you buy a bagger if money were no object?
If money were no object, yeah, I would have a bagger. I don't know. The bagger that I used of Johnny's there is a 9-foot diameter. I'd rather have an 8. I have used an 8 in the past. Realistically, in my opinion, you should be feeding 60 cows out of a 9-foot bag. In the wintertime it doesn't matter, but if you're feeding it in warm weather, it can get hard to keep ahead of the mold, especially if your feed gets a little on the dry side with a 9-foot bag. You can do it, but you really got to push the feed out of it. That is one thing nice with a silo. Your you're just gradually taking feed off the top, so you don't have as much exposed to the air, as far as mold wise that way. But yes, I would definitely look into a bagger, and if I could find the right price on one, even now a used one, I would probably look into having one, just because they are a nice option to have. Okay, and then we also were asked about a little history on the farm. What do you want to say? I guess I'm the 4th generation to farm here. Our kids are the 5th. As far as us being 1st generation milking cows, I guess yes and no. We started milking cows basically from, I don't want to say from scratch, because there was some stuff here, but there was no cows here. My grandpa had just beef cattle at that time. Prior to that, my great grandpa and up had been cows milked here, and then my grandpa had quit for a couple of years and just went to beef cows, so we started up again there. But anyway, as far as a little history on it, my great grandparents moved here in 1951. My grandpa was 14 at the time. They lived in the area, but they moved to this farm. And then when my grandpa, I don't know what age he was, but when he got married and left the farm, him and my grandma had their own farm down the road. They had beef cattle, hogs, and he also worked construction. And his youngest brother had taken over the farm here, dairy farmed, and my great grandparents, their parents still lived here also. And then in the early 1980s, my grandpa's brother that was milking here, he passed away. So then my grandpa quit his construction job and took over the dairy here and kept milking until probably around 2000, late 90s. He pretty much just switched to beef cattle then. The milking was getting too hard for him, and I had gone to automotive, to be an automotive technician, I guess. Worked on mechanic, worked on cars, so I went to school for that, so I wasn't really around here either at the time. So in 2006, in the fall of that, we got our first cows. We bought, 12? I think it was 12 Holsteins from a neighboring farm. And then started from there, 2008, when we got married, and then moved to the farm here. And then, like I said, when I took over, because the barn had pretty much been sitting, we kept some beef cattle in there in the winter to keep the water from freezing, but most of the stuff had to be replaced. Barn cleaner, manure pump, vacuum pump was stuck, that kind of stuff. So pretty much replaced everything that was in there. But so anyway, that's kind of where we started with the dairy, was from there, and here we are now. Alright, I just wanted to say, when we started this YouTube channel, we didn't figure it was going to take off like it has. We've got the best viewers out there. The comments we get are wonderful. We've learned so much from a lot of people out there that have commented, and I really love that. I like people's way they farmed or ideas they have, as long as they're respectful about them. I mean, obviously you get a rude one here and there, that their way is the best and there's no other. And I try not to come across that way. I don't feel that anything I'm doing here is the best way or better than anybody else's. But I do really appreciate your ideas, your support. It's just wonderful, and so many of you just give words of encouragement or support, and that's really nice. And I guess we'll wrap this up. I just want to thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything. Just hit the subscribe. Share the videos if you got anybody else that you think would enjoy them. And like I said, hope we can keep up content you like watching, and just hope we can make another 100. And God bless, and have a Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and see you on the next one.